Welcome, everyone, to What's Hot in the Bookstore. I'm Megan Riley.
And I'm Rain Brooks.
And today, wow, we're tackling a giant, both literally and figuratively, I think.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
We are definitely diving into some heavy, dark fantasy today.
Courtesy of, well, a true legend in the manga world.
Indeed. We're looking at Berserk Deluxe Volume 3. And let's be clear, this isn't just, another comic.
No, not at all.
This is really presented as a collector's item, a landmark piece of art.
So if you're already a fan of epic fantasy, maybe you love that really brutal but also kind of beautiful world building. Or honestly, if you just want the absolute best version of a cultural touchstone for your bookshelf.
Then yeah, you're going to want to stick around for this.
We're talking about the series that basically rewrote the rules for dark fantasy and this specific volume. It's crucial.
Absolutely critical for understanding the core tragedy of the whole story.
Yeah.
So just the facts first. Berserk Deluxe Volume 3. The creator, the genius, Kentaro Miura.
Of course.
Translated by Dwayne Johnson and published by Dark Horse Comics, working with Penguin Random House.
And the format is key here, like you said. This is the deluxe edition. It's this huge, beautiful hardcover, and it collects the original manga volumes 7, 8, and 9 all into one place.
Right. It originally came out November 5th, 2019, but, its presence on the shelf feels timeless, doesn't it?
It really does. So our goal today, our mission, is to really unpack this thing for you.
We want to show you exactly how the story in these specific volumes, 7 through 9, shifts things. It goes from this brutal war story into something, well, much more complex. Political drama, really.
Yeah, the intrigue really ramps up.
And we also want to talk about why the physical book, this deluxe edition, is just essential for experiencing Miura's art the way it was meant to be seen.
Okay, so we're aiming to give you the best possible preview, make you feel why you might need this in your life, basically.
Exactly. We want you to feel that berserk pull.
All right, let's start with the book itself, the artifact, as you called it. You just can't ignore how substantial this thing is.
You really can't. It doesn't just sit there. It kind of dominates the space,
Totally.
We're talking 704 pages.
Yeah.
And it's not flimsy paper either. It's high-quality stuff.
Yeah.
Bound in this really nice, sturdy, cloth-wrapped hardcover.
And the weight, you mentioned it earlier, it's almost 4 pounds.
Yeah, 3.94 pounds to be exact. Dimensions are roughly 7.3 by 10.3 inches. It feels premium.
It really does. It's not just something you read and toss aside. It feels like it's meant to be handled, displayed even.
Exactly. It's built to showcase the art inside.
And that larger size is so important for Miura's work, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely crucial. You know how much detail he packed into every single panel. It's legendary.
Obsessive is the word sometimes used.
Right. And the standard manga size, well, fine. It can't capture all of that. This larger format, it basically magnifies his genius. It elevates the whole experience.
How does that actually change things when you're reading? Like the scale?
Well, think about the big battle scenes in these volumes. The siege warfare. On these bigger pages, the landscapes, the ruined castles, the huge armies marching, they suddenly have this incredible depth. You feel the scope more. You really do. You can almost feel the grit in the cold air of the battlefield. It pulls you in.
And the details in the artwork itself must just pop.
Oh, completely. The texture work Miura was famous for, and his black and white style wasn't just lines, it felt etched.
Yeah.
The cross-hatching foreheads, the tiny details on, like, a knight's armor, that Baroque plate armor.
Or in the faces, especially the monsters and demons.
Exactly. Those grotesque, terrifying expressions. All those minute details just leap off the page in this format. You see things you just wouldn't notice otherwise.
And that line work, that detail, it really adds to the horror element, doesn't it?
Fundamentally. His use of light and shadow, it's not just for looks. It builds that intense atmosphere. That feeling of dread that is berserk. The darkness isn't just thematic. It's physically there on the page, heavy and deep. It makes the world feel gloomy, unsettling.
And this volume specifically, it has some major moments from the Golden Age arc, right? Some intense battles.
Absolutely. Some of the most visually stunning, emotionally charged sequences are in here. Seeing them this big, it just hits differently. The intensity is unparalleled.
And it's good to remind everyone listening, this is just book 3 out of, 14 planned deluxe volumes?
That's right. So Dark Horse is committed to this high-quality format for the whole series. If you start collecting these...
We're building a serious library piece.
Exactly. It's designed to last, designed to look amazing on the shelf, a real centerpiece for anyone serious about dark fantasy or manga art.
It feels like the definitive way to experience it.
It really is. Holding this book, you feel connected to Miura's decades of work. It's the best medium to appreciate his magnum opus.
Okay, so the book itself is gorgeous, a collector's dream. But let's get into the story. What's happening inside volumes 7, 8, and 9? You said it's a turning point.
A huge turning point. This is deep in the Golden Age arc. We start with Guts, Griffith, and the Band of the Hawk, basically at the height of their fame.
Right, they're the heroes of the war.
Yeah, fighting for Midland in this brutal 100-year war against the Kingdom of Tudor. They started as mercenaries, but under Griffith's leadership and ambition, they've become, well, indispensable to the Midland Army.
But things start to shift here.
Drastically.
Yeah.
While they're winning these incredible victories on the battlefield, I mean, the Siege of Doldry is a major part of this volume, that supposedly impenetrable fortress.
Which is drawn in excruciating detail, I imagine.
Oh, you have no idea. Pages and pages of incredible battle artistry. But the real drama, the focus, starts shifting away from the battlefield.
Where does it shift to?
To the palace, to the royal court. This volume really marks the turn towards political machinations, intrigue, backstabbing.
So less about swords, more about whispers.
Exactly. The source material makes it super clear. These power games, the maneuvering within the court, they are way more dangerous to Griffith and the Hawks than any army they face.
Up till now, Guts' huge sword could solve most problems.
Right. But now the threats are different. They require different solutions, like secrets and manipulation and even assassination.
Okay, let's break that down a bit. How does their success on the battlefield lead to this court intrigue?
Well, Griffith's victories bring him closer to the king, and importantly, to Princess Charlotte. He gains influence.
Which is good for him, presumably.
It's his path to power.
Yeah.
But it also creates massive resentment among the old guard nobles. They can't stand seeing this lowborn mercenary captain getting all this favor.
Ah, okay, so jealousy and pride come into play.
Big time. We see specific plots against Griffith. Count Julius, who's the king's brother, he really hates Griffith's rise, and this volume details an assassination attempt on Griffith, orchestrated by Julius.
And how does Griffith handle that?
This is where it gets dark. Griffith survives, but he retaliates. And he doesn't do it himself. He makes Guts do it.
Oh, wow.
He forces Guts to become an assassin, not just a soldier on the battlefield, to sneak in and kill Julius.
That must have a huge impact on Guts. It's devastating. That whole sequence. Guts ends up killing not just Julius, but also his young son by accident. It's brutal, and it really highlights the moral cost of Griffith's ambition.
So it's not about glorious combat anymore. It's about cold, hard, bloody ruthlessness to climb the ladder.
Precisely. That's the shift.
But wait, does that risk slowing things down? If you came for the big battles, does shifting to court politics make it less exciting?
That's a really good question. And, you know, Miura handles it brilliantly. Because while, yeah, there's less constant large-scale action, the tension actually ramps up.
How so?
Because the stakes become incredibly personal and internal. We see the fallout on Guts, his trauma from the assassination, the nightmares, this growing sense of unease, disconnect.
Ah, so the conflict becomes psychological, too.
Exactly. These intimate character moments, the vulnerability, the doubt Guts feels, they're woven right into the political plotting. So even when things are quiet, there's this heavy sense of dread. The pace doesn't slow, it just deepens.
Okay, gotcha. So we move from battlefield conflict into this really murky moral gray zone. Perfectly put. And that's not all. This is also where the supernatural elements start to creep in more overtly.
Beyond just, like, weird monsters on the battlefield.
Yeah. The atmosphere gets even gloomier, more unsettling. We start seeing these hints of mysterious enemies, forces from, well, the beyond.
Oh, interesting.
It introduces a threat that isn't just physical, but spiritual, moral. It challenges the characters on a different level and definitely starts laying the groundwork for, well, for the eclipse later on.
Man, okay, so this focus on betrayal, sacrifice, the cost of ambition, it really sets the stage for the big tragedy everyone knows is coming in Berserk.
It's the foundation. Everything Griffith gains here, every step up the ladder comes with this hidden, awful cost. And we see Guts starting to pay that price psychologically.
You have to understand this part, these compromises, to really feel the weight of what happens later.
Absolutely. It wouldn't hit nearly as hard without the context built in this volume. It's the setup for the ultimate gut punch.
All right, let's really dig into the two main guys here, Guts and Griffith. Calling them just hero and anti-hero feels way too simple, especially after what you just described.
Oh, vastly too simple.
Right.
And this volume, volume 7 through 9, really drives that home. They're at the peak of their shared success, militarily speaking, but inside. It's complicated.
Let's start with Guts. He's often just seen as the black swordsman, the guy with the impossibly huge sword, all rage and violence.
Right, and yeah, the violence is definitely there. But Miura gives us so much more, especially here. We see his internal struggle really coming to the forefront.
What's he struggling with?
It's like an identity crisis.
Yeah.
He's caught between his loyalty to Griffith, this guy who gave him a place to belong for the first time.
Which was huge for Guts, given his backstory.
Exactly. He believes fighting alongside Griffith gives his brutal life meaning. But then there's the realization, especially after the assassination mission.
That he's maybe just a tool.
Yeah. That maybe he's just a weapon for Griffith's ambition. And that realization shakes him. He starts questioning everything. What's his purpose? What is he willing to sacrifice? And for whom?
So his loyalty isn't just blind devotion. It's tied to this search for meaning.
Precisely. And when that meaning gets questioned, his internal conflict explodes. He starts wanting something for himself, his own path, his own strength, separate from Griffith.
Which must put him on a collision course with Griffith's plans.
Directly. Griffith needs Guts as his ultimate weapon, his loyal commander. Guts starting to want independence, wanting to be Griffith's equal, not just his sword. That's the core tension driving things toward the breaking point.
Okay, now Griffith. He's fascinating, almost impossibly charismatic, a brilliant strategist.
And a master politician, navigating this snake pit of a royal court. He's like a force of nature.
But his power isn't just about being a great fighter, is it?
Not at all. His real power comes from perception, influence, this unwavering, almost messianic belief in his own dream, his own destiny.
And he makes others believe it too.
Completely. But his relationship with loyalty gets murky, really murky in this volume. He seems willing to sacrifice basically anything or anyone to get his kingdom.
His interactions with the king, with Princess Charlotte, it's all manipulation.
It's complex. There might be genuine feelings mixed in, but ultimately, yeah, he uses his charm, uses people's emotions and expectations to further his own goals. It's masterful, but also chilling.
Okay, but here's a question then. If Griffith is becoming so ruthless, using Guts for assassinations, manipulating everyone, how does Miura keep us and the other Hawks invested in him? Why don't they just see him as a monster?
That is Miura's genius right there. He frames Griffith's ambition not just as like selfish greed, but as this grand, almost beautiful destiny.
Like he's meant for greatness and the ugly stuff is just necessary?
Sort of, yeah. He's presented as this tragic figure reaching for the stars, and his vision is so powerful, so intoxicating, that the people around him, the Band of the Hawk,
Yeah.
they're utterly devoted.
Why? What does he give them?
Purpose, belonging, a future they could never have dreamed of otherwise. He rescued them from miserable lives, so they rationalize the bad stuff. They believe in the dream.
So the moral ambiguity works because we see why people follow him, even as we, the readers, start to see the darkness underneath.
Exactly. We understand his drive, even if we dread where it's leading. It's that tragedy of perception again. Power through manipulation and belief, not just brute force.
And does this complexity extend to the other characters, too, the rest of the band, the Hawk?
Oh, definitely. Characters like Casca, Judeau, Rickert, Pippin, they get real depth in these volumes. Their relationships aren't simple.
Like Haska's feelings.
Yeah, Casca is torn. She worships Griffith, owes him everything. But she also has these growing, complicated, maybe unspoken feelings for Guts. It's a painful triangle.
And their loyalty isn't just blind either.
No, you see their fears, their hopes. They feel like real people caught up in something huge and dangerous. Their bonds feel genuine, which makes the stakes higher. It's not just about friendship or hate. It's messy, like real life.
That believability, that honesty, must be what keeps you grounded, even when the story goes to really dark places.
Absolutely. You care about these people. You care about their relationships, which are clearly getting strained and twisted by Griffith's ambition in this volume. That moral grayness, where nobody is purely good or evil, that's the heart of Miura's incredible storytelling.
We've talked a lot about the story and the art, but we really need to take a moment to talk about the artist himself, Kentaro Miura.
Absolutely. We can't discuss Berserk without acknowledging the immense talent and dedication of the man behind it. Kentaro Miura, who lived from 1966 to 2021, he wasn't just a mangaka. He was a titan.
A titan of dark fantasy, specifically.
For sure. And his journey to becoming this hugely influential figure, it started incredibly early. This wasn't some late blooming career.
Didn't he start publishing stuff in elementary school?
Believe it or not, yes. At age 10, he and his classmates apparently created and published a manga called Miura just for their school. 10 years old.
That's insane dedication from the get-go.
It really is. And that passion never stopped. He kept honing his skills through university, won some early awards, even worked as an assistant to another mangaka for a while.
Learning the craft.
Refining that incredibly detailed, almost Baroque style he became known for. And then in 1989, he launched Berserk.
And basically dedicated the rest of his life to it.
Pretty much. Over 3 decades committed to this single, sprawling, monumental narrative. It's an incredible artistic achievement.
And his influence, you can't really overstate it, can you? Especially in dark fantasy.
No way. Miura didn't just work in the genre. He arguably defined its modern visual and thematic language.
What are those key characteristics of his style?
Well, the hyper-detailed artwork, obviously. That incredibly rich, dense panel work. Then there's the atmosphere, always dark, gloomy, oppressive. And the visual language itself often feels like this blend of medieval realism and like dreamlike horror, almost surreal at times. That whole package became a blueprint.
A blueprint.
For so much. It's hard to find major dark fantasy visual media from the last, say, 20 years that doesn't show some Miura influence.
Can you give us some specific examples? Where might listeners have seen his influence, maybe without realizing it?
Okay, the most obvious one is video games. Think about the Souls series. Dark Souls, Bloodborne, even Elden Ring.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. The atmosphere, the enemy designs, the giant swords.
Totally. The creators of those games are very open about their debt to Miura's aesthetic, but also things like character archetypes, the oppressive world design. It's deeply influenced by Berserk.
Many others.
Even big franchises like Final Fantasy have shown clear influences, particularly in armor design or some darker story elements. It goes beyond just games, too, into other manga, anime, even Western fantasy literature.
So it's not just the look, but the ideas, too.
Exactly. The themes he explored, cosmic horror, the crushing weight of fate, sacrifice, the corrupting nature of power. These ideas have permeated dark fantasy globally. He really normalized blending that gritty medieval warfare feel with profound, unsettling, existential horror.
And he got recognition for this during his lifetime, right? It wasn't just a cult following.
Oh yeah, definitely. He received major awards. The big one was the Osamu Tezuka Cultural Prize for Excellence back in 2002, specifically for Berserk.
Which is like the Pulitzer for manga, basically.
Pretty much, yeah. It's the industry itself saying, this isn't just popular, this is important artistic work.
So when you hold this Deluxe Volume 3...
You're holding a piece of that legacy, a piece of cultural history, created by an artist whose vision continues to shape the entire genre. And the quality of this edition really does feel like it honors that legacy. It ensures his monument lasts.
Okay, we've talked art, story, legacy, which is all crucial. But let's talk brass tacks. How does this book actually perform out there in the real world? Does it sell? Do people actually like it?
Right, the marketplace test.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, Berserk Deluxe Volume 3, and the whole Deluxe line really, passes with flying colors. The reader reception is just phenomenal.
How phenomenal are we talking?
We're talking an average customer review score of 4.9 out of 5 stars.
Wow, 4.9. That's incredibly high, especially for something this dark and potentially divisive.
It's staggering. And it's not just a few dozen people saying they like it, that 4.9 rating. It's based on 8,508 customer reviews.
Over 8,000 reviews averaging 4.9. Okay, that's not just hype. That's genuine, widespread, long-term satisfaction. People love this book.
They absolutely do. It shows a massive consensus. This is a must-have product for fans, and even newcomers seem blown away by the quality and the story.
So the readers definitely approve. What about sales? How does it rank?
Well, the overall bestsellers rank on, say, Amazon is hashtag 2,359 in books.
Which sounds like a big number, but you have to remember that's out of millions of books, right?
Exactly. It includes every novel, textbook, cookbook, everything. For a collected manga edition, especially one that's been out since 2019, to consistently rank that high. It shows incredible staying power and continuous demand. People are still discovering and buying this regularly.
That's impressive long-tail success, but where does it really shine in its specific categories?
Ah, yes. That's where you see the hot factor we talk about on the show. Within its niches, it's dominant. It ranks hashtag 3 in horror manga.
Number 3 in horror manga? That's a huge category with tons of competition.
It really is. It shows it's right at the top of the heap for readers looking for that specific genre blend.
What else?
It also holds the #3 rank in Dark Horse comics and graphic novels.
Okay, so within its own publisher, competing against all their other titles, including massive licenses, it's still number 3.
Yep. That proves Berserk is a cornerstone franchise for Dark Horse, a consistent top performer. And it also holds a strong position at #14 in fantasy manga overall.
So the numbers basically back up everything we've been saying.
Absolutely. They validate the critical acclaim. This isn't just us or hardcore fans saying it's great. The market agrees. Thousands of buyers have voted with their wallets and left glowing reviews.
It proves it's that rare beast. A critical darling and a commercial success.
Precisely. So if you're wondering whether investing in this deluxe edition is worth it, the customer reviews and the sales charts give you a pretty definitive yes. It's a proven winner.
Okay, so let's wrap this up. We've journeyed through Berserk Deluxe Volume 3, and it really feels like a pivotal moment in the series, doesn't it?
Absolutely. It's where the story brilliantly fuses that spectacular, almost overwhelming action with really deep psychological exploration and complex political maneuvering.
It transitions the Golden Age arc from a war story to something much darker and more intricate.
It really sets the stage for the tragedy to come, asking these huge questions about power, sacrifice, friendship, betrayal, destiny, all that good, heavy stuff.
So who is this book really for? Obviously, existing Berserk fans will want this edition.
Oh yeah, for fans, this format is the dream.
Huh.
But I'd recommend it more broadly too. Anyone who loves complex, character-driven stories that aren't afraid to get into moral gray areas and don't offer easy answers.
Fans of dark fantasy in general, people who like Game of Thrones maybe, but want something arguably even darker and more visually in-depth.
Definitely. If you appreciate narratives that embrace complexity and explore the darker side of ambition and humanity, this is for you.
Okay, but we have to include the warning, right? The caveat.
We absolutely do. We need to be honest here. This book is not for the faint of heart.
Understatement, maybe?
Perhaps. Miura's vision is uncompromising. The world is brutal.
And the depiction of that brutality.
It's explicit. The violence, the gore, the horror elements, both physical and psychological, can be intense, disturbing even.
There are themes of trauma, sexual violence, moral collapse.
Yeah.
It goes to some very dark places.
It does. Readers need to be prepared for that. If you're sensitive to graphic content or really heavy dark themes, you need to approach Berserk with caution. It does not hold back.
Right. It's committed to its vision, for better or worse, depending on your tolerance.
Exactly. But for those who can handle that intensity, who appreciate that level of artistic commitment to a dark vision,
you're in for something special.
Truly monumental. It's the peak of dark fantasy storytelling, presented in what is undoubtedly its definitive format. The quality matches the content.
So the final verdict. A strong recommend, with that crucial content warning attached.
Absolutely. If you've been curious about Berserk or you're a fan wanting the best version, this is the time. This Deluxe Volume 3 is essential. We really encourage you to experience it in this format.
And to make that easy for you, as always, you can find the link to purchase Berserk Deluxe Volume 3 right there in the description below this video. Click away, add this masterpiece to your collection.
And before we completely sign off, we'd like to leave you with something to chew on, something inspired by the volume itself.
Okay, hit us with it.
All right, think about this. If one person's absolute success, their ultimate dream achieved, requires the absolute moral destruction or compromise of everyone who loves and follows them, does that victory actually belong to them? Or does the immense cost fundamentally negate the achievement itself?
Ooh, that's a heavy one. Perfectly captures the dilemma at the heart of this volume, though.
Something to ponder.
Definitely. Well, that's all the time we have for today's look at what's hot in the bookstore. Thank you so much for tuning in and exploring Berserk with us.
We really appreciate you listening. We hope you'll join us again next time as we delve into another fascinating title hitting the shelves.
Until then, happy reading.
Take care. Bye.